Yo!
There we go.
I gotta get that thing off, yo. It's way too hot. Shout out to the Tito's helmet.
Nice.
College football is back. What's going on, guys?
I love it, man. The good doctor.
How are we doing this evening? It is it's time. We are on the eve of college football. We're so close. I can taste it. I don't know about you, but it's in the air. I can feel it. I can taste it, you know.
That's right. the electricity, man. You can just, like you said, you could taste it tomorrow night, man. Tomorrow night. We're back. We got the backyard brawl kicking it off, man. Nothing like good old-fashioned hate to get you rolling.
No, 100%. One thing we will not tolerate, Emperor G, Texas Longhorn slander will not be tolerated on this television program, this YouTube program, this Twitch program, whatever you want to call it. We are not slandering God's favorite college football program, okay? We're not slandering Texas, okay? We can slander anybody else. We're not slandering Texas, okay? No, I'm just kidding, y'all. We'll have some fun with it.
Texas forever, right?
Absolutely. No, but, it's just fun. Can't wait. By the way, shout out to my boy Pat. It's me, Dr. DiCatrio, a.k.a. Corey. Glad to be here. Glad to be hosting this show. A couple months ago, I was talking to Jigga, and I was like, yo, let's do something for college football. And, we've kind of just been playing around with this, and, it came to life. So, that's about what I got. I've been watching college football since I was a kid, honestly, like a young kid. So, I eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff. Let's slander West Virginia. Absolutely. But I'll be your host. This is my co-host. Take it away, my friend.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Like the good doctor said there, college football, it's one of those things where, if you want to talk about, oh, man, what gets the juices flowing, what gets the more excitement, what is the best time of year? It's crazy. We spend the whole off season looking at spring camps. We spend the summer thinking about summer camps. We spend the winter thinking about recruiting rankings. You live year round, and college football is a year round thing. This is your boy Nelly, Zach, if you will. I'm excited to team up here and chat with y'all, kind of talk through. I'm a absolutely terrible gambler, except when it comes to college football, where I'm okay. And, I feel like that's a good step in the right direction. Happy to share my picks with you guys, give my insight, right or wrong. But yeah, we're just here to have some fun. There really isn't, if we're being honest, a ton of like video content for college football stuff out there. It's basically ESPN runs the world there. And we kind of wanted to give something that's a little different, a little more honest, a little more shit talking, a little more whatever. We don't have to be clean cut. We can just be regular guys kind of shooting the breeze.
Yeah, no, 100%. And one thing I am is not clean cut, and I do love to shoot the shit. So that's what this is. That's what this is, and it's going to divulge into some madness as the weeks go on. I promise. Especially with the way the season's going to play out, especially early. So, I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time. But enough about us. Let's go straight into it. Let's get a little top 25.
Oh, a little funky right there. I like that.
I like the music, but in my opinion, this is this is what people talk about coming into the season right here. The preseason AP rankings. Yes, we cut it off at 20, 21 through 25, Ole Miss, Wake Forest, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU. We couldn't fit them all on there, but honestly, the bottom of the top 25, honestly, it's going to be changing week to week. So,
yeah.
Nelly, what stands out most to you in the preseason rankings?
Man, so like if we want to talk from the side of like every year kind of seeing a team that, in my opinion, gets overhyped, look at Notre Dame. When we start them off talking top 25 in the 5th spot, exclusively for the rankings of getting annihilated by Ohio State week 1. They want to have that top 5 matchup. They want to get everybody excited for it. You change over the entire staff. You're looking at a really influx talent up and down the lineup. The talent's there. Michael Mayer, unbelievable tight end. The O-line, D-line is going to be strong, but do they have the horses to score anywhere?
You know what's crazy is it's funny that you said that because, yes, the whole coaching staff is gone. Brian Kelly now at LSU, and LSU is not even, sniffing the top 25. It's like LSU, in my opinion, has talent. And it's like, I don't think Notre Dame without him is a better football program, to be honest. But I guess we're going to see. I don't think we'll see week one, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. I don't see that week one, but I guess we'll see moving forward. I love that Notre Dame's going to keep dodging conference alignment. And I mean, honestly, I think that was the biggest topic of the spring besides the NIL was the fact that is Notre Dame, with the super conferences and stuff like that, is Notre Dame finally going to jump into a conference? And here we are still. There's nothing to be said about it as of now. All the super conference talks have kind of stalled out a little bit. And, I mean, I don't know. But looking at this, honestly, I agree with Scoob. And this isn't me being a Texas homer. I do think A&M is overrated at number 6.
Man, where is that coming from, my brother? Like, tell me, where is that? Obviously, the talent, I guess, incoming, but they're like all freshman talent.
It's that, and I mean, honestly, I heard they spent north of $30 million on this recruiting class, which, it's going to be so fun moving into the future, hearing how much these boosters are paying these incoming freshmen and stuff like that. Just like Bijan Robinson at Texas has a deal with, a luxury car brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the stuff moving forward that I feel like is really going to be interesting when you hear, just how much money these programs are spending on these new players,
Man, absolutely with you on that. And it's funny, talking back to the conferences and realignment and moving around, if you go back to the 70s, people have been talking about trying to get Notre Dame to jump into someone. Big Ten's been courting them for 30, 40 years. I think they're just going to love being, God's team is maybe Texas, but I suppose Touchdown Jesus' team is Notre Dame. So they want to hang on to that and keep that rolling. But I don't know. The other one on there that stands out to me is Oklahoma. As there's a lot of flux there. Could they make the playoff? I think they could. But at the same time, there's so much talent went out the door, entirely new staff. I don't know. I feel like that's a long ways up the line to start off at.
I think Oregon is a vanity rating at 11.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix transferring to Oregon doesn't move the needle for me. He couldn't get it done at Auburn. What makes you think him going to Oregon is really going to move the needle? Sure, they can beat up on some Pac-12 teams, but I think week 1, Georgia in Atlanta, that's a tough pill to swallow, honestly. I mean,
tough.
I think they're ranked way too high preseason, but once again, I do think it was just another top 25 team, to play an SEC powerhouse. That's how I see it. Another one that stands out to me, honestly, in my opinion, this is going to sound crazy. I think Wisconsin's underrated here at 18. Year after year, Wisconsin goes into their side of the Big Ten and they bully. In my opinion, they bully around, and usually Wisconsin's there at the end in the conference championship game, and it's just like, I feel like Wisconsin at 18 right now, a little bit underrated. But other than that, I mean, I think Miami's good at 16. I think the amount of SEC schools, of course, it's going to be SEC heavy right now. But, I mean, that's just what's to be expected when your conference is won,
all of the championships, just all of them.
And, honestly.
Man, Wisconsin, I do hear where you're coming from there. Braylon Allen is a freak show. I mean, he's going to ring up 2,000 yards. Retooled offensive line should be pretty good. You got Jim Leonard running the defense, so they're going to put out a really good product. So, and like being in the Big Ten West is pretty fantastic place to be.
Oklahoma State too high. Def Cord left. I think they regressed. No, I don't think you're wrong there. Honestly, I mean, of course, Texas not being ranked was a little bit of a shock. I figured they'd sneak in the back of the poll, maybe like a 23, 24, somewhere in there. But honestly, I'm not upset about it. Seeing teams like Cincinnati still being ranked, Houston, the Cougs being ranked. I mean, I can't be mad about that. BYU, who knows what the hell they're going to do. So honestly, like,
tough schedule too.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, it is what it is, but for right now, I think looking back on this, these preseason ratings in a couple of weeks will be very, very interesting.
Yeah, so like looking either say 15 on down or even further in the unranked, who do you think can make some noise, move up, maybe talking mid-season, they're in the top 10 of the CFP?
The Miami Hurricanes.
Wow, man, that's going on. Big believer in the QB down there, Cristobal.
This is my thought process. And I honestly think Miami, looking at their schedule, they actually have a favorable schedule, in my opinion. I think Miami is – we're going to be shocked. I think Clemson and Miami both will be top 10 for most of the season, once some dominoes start to fall. And I could be completely wrong about this, but honestly, I do think Miami in that 15 to 20 range is the team that has the most juice to get up to the top 10. That are honestly probably USC, in my opinion.
Man, so you're a believer in what USC's got going out there. There's a lot of hype rolling for a lot of moving parts for a team that was horrific last year.
So what I really think, though, is you bring Lincoln in. And, of course, he brings his baby boy with him. But honestly, if you look at their schedule, Rice, Stanford, Fresno State, Oregon State, Arizona State, Washington State. It's not until the middle of October that they play Utah.
Wow, man. Well, they'll definitely have time to get comfortable out there because I think Addison and new QB coming in are just going to sling it around. I mean, the problem was like offensively last year they weren't that bad, but they were in the hundreds in almost all defensive rankings. So that's really something he's got to shore up. And Lincoln Riley always did a really good job with defenses, right? So
no, for sure. Yeah, but no, I mean honestly, if you look at USC's schedule, they've got 2 games in my opinion circled. Honestly, they could be 10-2 at the end of the year. Honestly, they go to Utah in the middle of October, and then they play Notre Dame, of course, at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, I mean, they go to Arizona, but they get Washington State at home. They don't have to play Oregon this year. Arizona State comes to USC. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, they have a very soft schedule, and this is exactly what Lincoln Riley and the boosters and that program need to really take that step back, to the prominence of college football, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, you think I'm definitely super high long term on USC. I think hearing that schedule, I didn't realize how they're going to be 6-0 unless the wheels just come off. And so I mean, they're going to ring up a ton of points. Defense will catch up to it. I do think 10-2 is achievable this year, and I think they're going to go supernova because there's a lot of money to spend out there, a lot of big boosters. I think that they'll make some noise.
No, 100%. And what's funny is, we were talking about, what's funny is actually, I might be spot off on my Miami prediction because I forget Miami has to go to College Station.
I forgot it. Yeah.
In 3 weeks, they go to College Station to play Texas A&M at home. So this could be the game that shows either A&M's overrated or Miami was overrated, in my opinion. I think that's going to be the real test because honestly, if you look at the rest of Miami's schedule until November, same thing as USC. It's a cupcake, honestly. So,
man, talk about a measuring stick game. That's a great matchup. That'll be and it's in College Station. Miami's going over there.
Yeah, Miami's going. It's a home and home. They've got them at Texas A&M this year. Of course, they'll be at Miami next year. But no, that's going to be a very interesting game in 2 weeks. Why isn't Nebraska in the top 20? I am so glad that you asked because honestly, I completely forgot about this. But you know what, though? It makes sense because that's what people are going to do when they think about Scott Frost and his coaching tenure at Nebraska. They're just going to forget about it. You know,
I think they'd like to forget about it now.
No, 100%. And you're a Big Ten guy, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on Scott Frost, his coaching job this week, and the way Northwestern played.
It's just a tale as old as time for Scott Frost. Like, if you look at the past, I think it's like the past 12 games, they've lost 9 of them by a single possession. They've led or had, and I think all these statistics are made up whenever they say they have a 90% chance of winning. Like, somehow a lot of times that team ends up losing. But, they've just done boneheaded mistakes. They invent new ways to lose, whether it's special teams, offense, defense. Like, from Scott Frost, personally, for me as a Michigan guy, I have just hated him forever because, he came out with his comments with Nebraska in '97 about how they deserved the championship over Michigan. And then at UCF, came up to Ann Arbor, said they out-hit Michigan and really punished them when they lost by 60 points. Goes over to Nebraska and just basically just steps on a rake, trips over it, steps on another rake, and then falls down the stairs. Like, I just don't know what he's going to do. I don't think he makes it to midseason. I think they gave him a prove-it deal, and he has found a new and exciting way to lose in another country now. So,
but you know what's funny though is Casey Thompson transferring to Nebraska from Texas. Honestly, like, he didn't look terrible the first week. But, talking about Scott Frost, they ran Bo Pelini out of town with a 38-17 record. Scott Frost in 3.5 years is 15-30. Bo Pelini was 67-27. Scott Frost right now 15-30, 10-26 in conference.
Goodness gracious.
So you tell me why Scott Frost still has a job, in my opinion. I don't understand it. Who does he have info on at Nebraska? That's got to be it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of, from his time there, being the prodigal son coming home. I mean, same thing that Michigan went through with, honestly, after 2020, there was a lot of push to fire Harbaugh. And, it's the same kind of thing as Scott Frost is being the prodigal son coming home. If that doesn't work out, it's really a bad situation for everyone. So I think they're in a tough spot with it, but ultimately enough's got to be enough. Nebraska is a proud blue blood tradition that has been terrible for 15 plus years. College football needs them to get their shit together.
You know what's funny is I really don't think they do. I really don't. I think, and it's not even hate necessarily. I just think that Nebraska was the 90s, the 80s, the 90s, the early years before I was born and stuff. And it's like, I don't think they have to be that powerhouse, school that they once were. And in my opinion, you brought up Michigan, and I'm so glad you did, honestly. Because honestly, I think that Mr. Harbaugh is the most overrated coach in college football.
Oh, man. Well, since he was hired, he has the 7th best record in college football as a head coach. I mean, the problem is the boogeyman lives in Columbus.
No, 100%.
We finally were able to take care of it last season, but it'll always be, he has been so unlucky losing stupid things. And I mean, ultimately it falls to him as a coach. So you can't point blame anywhere else. We've lost so many heartbreaking, dumb losses. Even last year, looking at, we go 11-1 the regular season. We trot our freshmen out, run an option play that we hadn't run to that point, fumble in state territory, they win the game. So I'm not going to argue with you that I do think that from the pedestal he got put on when he came back to Ann Arbor was automatically top 3 coach. And I think for you to be a top 10 coach, you need to be consistently in the playoffs. So, if he can start doing that, then awesome. But right. if we consistently go 8 wins in a season, change that out for an 11 win, if we bounce too much, I'm with you. I think you can apply the overrated moniker, but I think now is his time to prove it because it's almost like you got a reset button.
No, 100%. And I think that the Ohio State win last year gave him more time. I really do. I think that it gave him so much more time. But I mean, honestly, if you look at Michigan's schedule, they're in the same boat as all these other teams that we've talked about. I mean, They've got Colorado State, Hawaii, Connecticut, Maryland. And then, they go to Iowa, go to Indiana, which honestly, they should beat the hell out of both of them. And then, you start with your Penn State, your Michigan State, and stuff like that. So, I mean, honestly, 9-3, 10-2 for Michigan, honestly, in my opinion, that's kind of where I see them this year. You'll probably tell me they should be 11-1 or maybe even 12-0. But, in my opinion, that's where I see them at this year, honestly.
Well, hey, Vegas has us set to 9.5, I think. So that sounds about right then. And when you look at, so couple things in there. We don't play a tough team until at Iowa. That'll be a really tough game. I'm sure it'll be a night game. You got everybody waving to the kids. It's Kinnick's a house of horrors for anybody that comes there. We'll find a way to lose that game. That's just probably the reality of the situation. Penn State, Frames Janklin. He is the most overrated coach in America.
Wait, what'd you call him?
Frames Janklin. He's a joke, man. He gets so much love from the media. They just go to town on him. He's 11-11 in his last 22 games. He got a lot of mileage out of that 2016 fluke season. I'm over him. But State too. We look at Sparty. Mel Tucker's the third highest paid coach in America with a career losing record. We'll see what goes there too.
I had no idea. It's funny that you mentioned Penn State. We actually, we got sports gambling here in Louisiana last year at the end of football season. And so we actually just Horseshoe opened a big sports book bar this week.
Oh.
The first bet was Purdue +3 for $500,000.
Oh man!
So that just got I love that you brought up the Penn State thing, because literally my old boss texted me earlier and he told me that exact thing about Purdue, and I'm like, yo, that's wild. So,
hey, Purdue a lot to like out there. I mean, they might be getting too much love. I mean, people are pegging them for a 10-win team. I don't know if Purdue will ever win 10 games. Drew Brees isn't walking through that door, but they really solid quarterback play. Good for them defense, good for Purdue level defense, good skill position. So that's going to be a super fun game. I'm excited. Purdue Penn State's going to be a blast.
Yeah, no doubt. And one more thing that I want to talk about. I have to talk about precious Alabama. Alabama opened up the season under 3-1 odds. Okay. Only one team in the last 20 years that has opened up under 3-1 odds has won the national title.
Wow.
2017 Alabama. That's the only time it's happened. So, I don't know. I'll get to that stuff here in a little bit as far as what I see, in the college football playoff and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But honestly, unless some freak stuff happens to Bama, I think they're running the table. Honestly, in my opinion, I think they're running the table as far as the regular season goes. And then, of course, we'll get into the conference picks and everything like that here in a little bit. But, I just want to throw that out there. The 3-1 odds isn't always,
man.
It's sometimes it's the kiss of death. So
that is a crazy level of juice there. I mean, that's some hype.
And real quick, I just want to touch on some of these comments. I'm not sold on Utah. Do we really think this team is a playoff contender? Absolutely. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Oklahoma won't be ranked by the end of the season. I agree with you to an extent. I think if they're ranked, I think it'll be the back half of the top 25, maybe 20-ish. I don't see Oklahoma having a good year at all. Honestly, I don't. I think there's been so much turmoil with the program. I think, all the moving, all the changing, everything like that. Let me see here. Arkansas, the sleeper in the SEC. Honestly, I do not disagree.
Well, I guess, yeah. So how are we going to define sleeper? Actually contend, or be a 9 wins? Big Ten or the SEC West a nightmare.
So this is the thing, though. I honestly do think that Arkansas finishes the season in the top 3 of the SEC West, 100%. I do think that honestly, they could finish behind Alabama in the SEC West. Honestly, Arkansas's got a damn good football team, in my opinion. They really do.
KJ Jefferson is. I mean, he's out of sight. I mean, it's fantastic. They were exciting last year, so I think they're a very fun team. Offensively, they're really unique. Kind of bringing back the glory day visions of Darren McFadden sprinting down the sideline So Arkansas is definitely fun. I guess it's heck, they were what? They were like made it up to 5th or 6th last year.
Arkansas
and ran
played,
to that buzzsaw.
Arkansas played really well last year, and I think that they're only going to continue to get better. I think that power style of football that they have been playing has been working out well, and they spread the ball out really well. I do think Arkansas will be, I think they've got a voice in the SEC West this year. Oklahoma's defense has been trash for 5 years. I mean, Big 12 defense in general is trash. And yeah, the offense is now gone. Oklahoma's defensive-focused team now under Venables. So how will they handle that? Honestly, I don't know. Do they have the players in place to be that defensive-focused team? Because the Big 12, they're not known for really getting those amazing defensive commits. I think honestly it'll be very interesting. Watch out for Drew Sanders on Arkansas, transfer from Bama. Anytime I feel like anybody gets a Bama transfer, it's money. It's like, you're sitting, you go to Bama and you sit there for year and a half, and it's like, I'm not touching the field. Let me take my talents somewhere else. So yeah. But I think that wraps it up for me on the top 25. Did you have anything else you wanted to add before we move on?
No, it's, and we'll hear from one of our co-hosts here, Cerveza, later on here, talking about how he feels about preseason. And I don't disagree with him, because it's a dog and pony show, but we can't get enough college football, and we're so starved after 9 months of not having it that I could spend all day just arguing about who's receiving votes in the top 25 preseason poll.
Right. No, 100%. So yeah, now what we're actually going to do is we're going to give y'all a little video package for one of our other co-hosts that could not be here tonight. So we'll be right back.
Guys, what's going on? Knights, how you doing tonight? Glad to be here. I am Ben George. Wish I could be live with you. I made an obligation with the wife to get out of town and spend a little time before the football season started. So I'm out of pocket tonight, but I'll be back with you live next week. I know these guys will hold it down for us tonight. So enjoy the show. Jigga, thanks for taking care of us, making us look good as always. We appreciate all the work you do behind the scenes. I want to give you a little background on myself, some thoughts on the season here before making some picks later on tonight. But I just want to give you a little background on who I am and what to expect on the show this season. So first off, you can find me on Discord, Spend My Dollar. You can also find me on Twitter at TheBenGeorge. I'm up late night on Saturdays, so hit me up if you got some good picks. If we're chasing bets together. I went to Alabama. Notice the A. Yes, I get it. You might write me off because of that, but I went there when we weren't very good at football. Early 2000s, 4 coaches in 4 seasons while I was there, okay? So I don't take any of this for granted. I enjoy all the success and appreciate every minute of it that we've had over the last 15 years. Even though you might be getting tired of it, just know that I do appreciate everything that we've enjoyed. So much so that I've been to every national championship game under Nick Saban, except for one. I missed the Clemson blowout loss in San Jose. I picked a good one to miss. But it's been a heck of a ride. Enjoyed every minute of the journey. Although it's hit me in the pocketbook a little bit, right? Needed a floor price to these nights to go up, maybe to help me out a little bit. But in all seriousness, it's been a lot of fun, and it's been a blast. I also did a little pregame radio down in Tuscaloosa on the flagship for Alabama football. So been around that as well. Been in the trenches. Done some work with ESPN. Also still do some work with ACC Network. You might see me on a few events there as well. So a little background on myself. Now, this season, got to give you some thoughts on Alabama, right? Being a Bama guy. They're going to be good. We know that. But what I'm curious to see is like who steps up at playmaker around Bryce Young? Who steps up and provides that supporting cast for him at quarterback? One guy you need to watch out for is Jamir Gibbs. This is a guy that transferred in from Georgia Tech, running back. If you don't know him, you're going to very soon. This weekend probably, because they play a Utah State team that doesn't have a defense, right? They got gashed against the run by UConn, the Mighty Huskies. So Alabama, Jamir Gibbs, that group, I think we'll put up some big numbers this weekend. I think he could break off a couple of big runs. Could even see him go for $150, 200 if he gets enough carries. But fully expect him to have a big weekend for this Alabama team. But Nick Saban's done a great job picking these transfers up out of the portal to kind of plug the few holes that he does see in his team coming up the next season. You got Gibbs, you got Jermaine Burton from Georgia, the wide receiver, plus another wide receiver from Louisville as well. But on the defensive side of the ball, this unit could be as good as any that Nick Saban's had. We know Will Anderson, right? But that whole entire linebacking core is going to be stout. and I look forward to seeing what they can do. But the secondary behind them could be really good too. So this is a unit that I think could turn over a number of opponents and even turn those into some defensive touchdowns as well throughout the year. So looking forward to seeing what they do. Georgia, another team I'm paying attention to. Want to see just what they do with the target on their back. We know it's tough to get to the top of the mountain, but it's even tougher to stay at the top of the mountain. Can they do it? They lose a lot on defense. Kirby's reloaded through recruiting, but can he maintain that level? Can he get his guys motivated week in, week out to do that once again? We shall see. Also in Clemson, I'm in ACC territory now. I live in the ACC country, so I watch them a little bit closer. But Clemson's a team, right, that loses both coordinators. What will Dabo do with those guys gone, right? He can't lean on these guys anymore. Is he able to continue to have this high level of success? But I'm curious what happens at quarterback for them. DJ's not a guy that I think's the answer long term. To get to the playoffs once again, I think they're going to have to do something different. And is this another season where they have the dynamic like Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant, where a freshman comes in and maybe unseats him before the year's out? Something to watch there. Also, speaking of the ACC, a team I'm watching closely this year, maybe a bit of a dark horse, NC State, the Wolfpack. They got a lot to play for, right? Last year got the shaft out the Holiday Bowl. This is a motivated team. They're hungry, and they tasted a little bit of that success. They beat Clemson last year. This defense returns a lot of key players. Might be the best unit in the ACC. Then you pair that with Devin Leary at quarterback, who was as good as anybody the second half of the year last year. And just an accurate quarterback, big play quarterback. And I think if they get to the ACC championship, if they win the ACC championship, which they're still getting overlooked, not getting a lot of respect there, he's a guy, Devin Leary, that could get to New York and be a dark horse for the Heisman. So I've seen it 60-1 in some places. So why not take a flyer on him? I think if they get there, if they win the ACC, he's definitely a guy that can get an invite to New York. So he's worth the shot there at the odds where they're at. But I'm excited about the entire season. Again, I'm online. Follow me at Twitter at TheBenGeorge. Excited about picks later tonight. I'm going to make some bad ones. There's going to be some I'll look back on Sunday and scratch my head and say, man, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm willing to take the grief when I deserve it. But hopefully we'll make a little bit of money, have some winning picks along the way. I'll have those a little bit later on. But, guys, I appreciate it. Excited to be here with you. Wish I could be there live with you tonight, but I know you're going to kill it. And I look forward to being with you again soon to make the picks.
Oh man, we got the funk going.
Yo, I like to move and groove. Shout out to the music, you know. So that was a fire video. I loved it. Man. Yo, I got through a ton of Coke Zeros. I need to kill kill that down a little bit. But yeah, Heisman betting favorites. You know, also I do want to shout out to the Action Network. You know, shout out to Nights of Degen, shout out to the Action Network. You know, if you had a night, you get a year-long subscription to the Action Network. And a lot of these lines, you know, oh God, it's insane. The lines that you get, the action that you get, I mean, all the behind-the-scenes info on betting and where the money's going, everything like that, spot on. You know, shout out to them for the Heisman odds, which, by the way, I'm going to throw this out there before we start talking about it. 2014 was the last time that a preseason favorite won the Heisman, and that was RG3.
Wow.
So that might spell disaster for CJ Stroud.
Man, that's wild. Well, hey, you know, as a Michigan fan, I hope it does. But hey, you know, it's man, I don't know if plus 200 is really even worth throwing it out there on that with how minimal those like that payback is to pick preseason as such a heavy favorite. He has an unbelievable cast of wide receivers to throw to. All 5 stars in the O-line, going to be plenty of time to throw. Travion Henderson to hand it off to help spell the passing game. I mean, Stroud is going to sling the rock, and that offense is a hurricane. So I'm not excited about it. I do think Stroud is probably not a horrible idea to take it. I don't want him to. But, you know, I have a few other like long on odds people that I'd kick around. Caleb Williams is like, I mean, I don't know about that at all.
You know, it's crazy that we're already jumping on the Caleb Williams hype train, honestly. It's a head scratcher to me. Bryce Young at 350. Honestly, that's solid. That's solid money to me, honestly.
Yeah, I know. And like, and he will, if we look at it at the end of the day, he probably will have the best stats. But my concern on that pick is voter fatigue and being like, hey, I don't want to give it back to this guy.
Yeah. No, 100%. I don't feel like you're wrong there. And, I mean, as we've seen for so long, the Heisman's no longer about the best statistics. It's no longer about who's looked the best. It's about the best quarterback or the best player in the playoffs,
Yep.
In my opinion, that's what it's about now. It's not like it was when I was growing up, when you were growing up, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You could see a team that wasn't, in the top 10, the top 5, win a Heisman. Now you just, it's so rare to see.
You lose 3 games and you're out. I mean, it's just, it's like you said, it's kind of what the MVP has become in other like professional leagues. It's like, who's the best player on the team that wins the championship, So I'd love to see a little more shifting there, but ultimately, like I'd love to see Will Anderson bring it home. I'd love to see a defensive guy get a shot at it. Yeah, you can't tell me Will Anderson this season, when he rings up 20 sacks, 50 tackles for a loss, he's got like 9 interceptions, and he'll get like a pity invite to New York.
No, 100%. And Will Anderson last year, I love that. Literally, Pat was literally just typing that out pretty much. And that's the thing. The defensive players in the Heisman, unless you're special teams, unless you're touching the ball on offense and you have a special package, I mean, it's gonna be so rare for a defensive player to actually get that type of love. And to me, I just think it's baffling. I think the best odds for a non-quarterback this year is my guy Bijan Robinson out of Texas. I think he's plus 2,000, which honestly, man, he's so good. He's honestly, he's a terror. You get him in space, or honestly, you can put him between the tackles. He's making people miss. He's breaking long runs. The only thing that worries me about him this year is our offensive line, isn't the best. We did just have a starting player get injured. I don't know. And plus, with young Quinn there, with young Ewers there,
they're going to lean on him heavy. I mean, they're
they
going to. So, I guess the thing is, hopefully he's got enough tread on the tires there. I know he got banged up a little bit last year. So, I'd love to see him stay healthy, because he is one of the. Heisman a lot of times breaks down to best player versus most exciting player.
Right.
And to me, like, Bijan Robinson is one of, if not the most exciting players, because he's electric. He can go in between the tackles, juke a guy inside a phone booth, and then shoot down the sidelines on a 60-yarder and outrun a safety. But my concerns with him, I want him to stay healthy. Obviously, I want him for you to stay healthy. And how many wins can Texas get this year to get a chance, like you were saying at the beginning, to have a shot at it?
This show will be so much fun if Texas wins. I just want you guys to know that. This show will be a blast if Texas wins. Like, honestly, like, if my team is out there getting their ass kicked, I'm not going to have fun talking about college football. But if my team goes out there and plays really well, dude, I'm going to enjoy talking about it. Like the plus Texas only winning 7 games. Texas is not winning 7 games. They're winning more than that, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So I got 2 players that honestly I would take flyers on right now.
Okay.
That are more dark horse plays in my opinion. And honestly, one of these guys, in my opinion, shouldn't be a dark horse. And I think that's what Spin My Dollar was talking about a while ago. I caught the end of it. Watch out for Kansas. I love that joke. The quarterback from Clemson, DJ, I'm not even going to try to say his last name because I will butcher it. DJ Ugalele. The Clemson quarterback, 4,500 odds, 45 to 1 odds. Clemson's got a good team. They have a good team. They've had a good team consistently under Dabo. DJ had a bad first year last year. I know he threw a lot of interceptions. He didn't play great. But honestly, for a team like Clemson that should cakewalk to at least the conference championship, I do think him being a guy sitting in New York, is a high possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I got some hot takes for you on that later. But, as far as talking about the potential, I mean, let's flash back to Notre Dame. What was that, 2020, whenever that was? I mean, he had like 600 yards of offense. He had like 7 touchdowns. You know, he played really strong that season, and it's almost like last year he got the yips. Now, I mean, their offensive line was horrific. There's no way to go but up for their offensive line. Really talented running back groups. You know, they'll always have strong skill position. I know they get a guy that got, I think he tore his ACL last year. He'll be coming back as a wideout. So a lot to like there. They are going to beat the tar out of a lot of the ACC teams. So, you know, I don't hate that play. You know, along the similar lines of saying, hey, here's a flyer that I think's worth going on is, and what's really tough about picking any of the Ohio State guys is they're going to steal votes from each other. But man, Jackson Smith-Njigba is must-see TV. As a guy that hates everything about the Ohio State University, I'm telling you, man, when you look at Jackson Smith-Njigba is going to ring up 20 touchdowns, is going to have 15 to 2,000 yards receiving. Ohio State's going to be in the playoff. So I think that's, you know, you can get it from, I've seen it from anywhere 2,500 all the way up to 5,000 where you play it. I mean, I think that's worth taking, you know, throw a little bit on that and see if it happens.
You know what's funny is you're not the first person to mention that name, and I've actually been hearing that a lot. I do love the fact that we keep getting the Will Shipley comments in the chat, the Clemson running back. I love that. Keep that same energy, yo. Keep that energy. I like that, you know, because honestly, I get tired of seeing Alabama running backs win the Heisman. Like, give me something different, you know? Give me a different. I would love, honestly, to see a player on the West Coast win the Heisman again. Honestly, I would, you know?
Yeah.
Look, Pac-12 After Dark is the most exciting football every week. I don't even care who's playing. Pac-12 After Dark is shit. So,
yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen. Like, you'll somehow a punt will get blocked, almost run back, and then the original team with the ball will score a touchdown. Like, you just never know what's going to happen out there.
No, 100%. Clemson has never had a Heisman. It is our turn. You know what? I don't feel like you're wrong there, but somebody that would have some words about this. I got one more dark horse for you. Excuse me. And this goes out to my boy Rob. Anthony Richardson.
Oh, AR-15.
Yeah, AR-15, which, by the way, he will not be going by AR-15 this season. He said that, you know, he's going to change that up. You know, I get it, AR-15. 40-1 odds, Anthony Richardson for the Heisman.
I'm interested to see what Billy Napier does up there. I mean, I think that long term he's going to build something. I am not sure what this season is going to look like.
Me either.
Because he really he didn't get left with a full cupboard. The talent's there, but it's just like a big convoluted mess he's got to put together. But I don't hate that play. You know, when you talk to scouts, they're saying top 10 pick. So if that's the case, he certainly has the talent. He's just got to go out there and throw the stats up.
No, 100%. You know, and I think if he doesn't win it this year, you know, hey, but I do think if he's back for one more season, I do think you'll see him in that, you know, that preseason, you know, up there towards the top of the Heisman rankings going into next season. But like I said, that's just 2 quarterback flyers that I've had my eyes on, you know, going into the season. But, you know, like I said, honestly, it's Stroud, it's Young. For some ungodly reason, it's Caleb Williams, and then it falls off a cliff. So, you know, that's kind of – they're going to be shoving these guys down our throats all year. So just get ready for it, prepare. And, you know, it's crazy, though, that the national championship winning Georgia Bulldogs, I didn't see anybody in the top 5 to 10 Heisman looks. You know, and that's insane. Like, for a team that's ranked, 2 in the country or whatever it was, like, you know, I mean, what are we doing here? So – it's going to be very interesting to see how they, you know, how that turns out. Put the Coke Zeros down. I love you guys already.
Man. All right, I got one more long shot for you here, and like this one's way outside the box. You can get it all the way up to 6,000, so 60-1 payout here, and it is Hendon Hooker. So Hendon Hooker, he's a rival of old AR-15 down there up at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. Look at his stats last year: 33 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions. He had 4,000 yards passing. I mean, and he didn't even start until the 4th game.
Right.
And so this season he's got Cedric Tillman back. they're gonna throw up video game numbers. Comes back to how many games can they win? Can they get the job done? But he is going to do his part. He's not going to be the reason they lose any games. So, I think that's a long shot that he could end up in New York. But really, all these long shots, I don't know the stats on how often they pay off. I feel like you got to be probably coming into the year top 10, top 15 to actually get it done.
Yeah, but honestly, if you think about it, though, like the Heisman, it's not always those top 3 guys. Honestly, in my opinion, like I think the Heisman outside of course recently, because the problem is you've had Bama, Clemson, players like that dominating the Heisman for damn near a decade now, and so it's like I don't know, man, it's just tough. Honestly, in my opinion, it's so tough to call because they're always so good, and the teams around these guys are always so good. But then it's like when they get to the next level, are they as good as they were in college? So
yeah, I'm with you.
That's where we're at now. But I think that does it on the Heisman wrap up. So let's move on to some host conference. That's going to be a little rowdy with some of these.
Beating the build up, just got to get it rolling.
I'm going to give y'all a little beat for a second because I feel like we might catch some slack for some of these picks. Oh, okay, there we go. All right. I'm done dancing. We've got some picks, some conference picks here. Which, by the way, you'll see shortly, Cerveza thinks preseason picks are dumb. Shout out. Honestly, he's not wrong. He's not. But, it gives us something to talk about. It gives us a good time here. So, honestly, I think we just start off with the big dog and we just move straight down the list.
Yeah.
Who do you got in the SEC title game?
Man, I think it's, this is just chalk, but I think it's Bama, Georgia. They're the talent drop off between those two to the next tier is huge. Now, it'll be interesting to see if Georgia can repeat. Now, I'm buying stock. I'm buying everything I can into Bama. Georgia, they lost 20 NFL draft picks.
Right.
And it's tough to go from being the hunter to the hunted. So like, how do they handle the success? How does the new players step in? Because there's 12 new starters.
Right.
So I'll be intrigued to see how they do it. I think Bama is just a complete team. So Ben talked on it extensively there, and you just look up and down both sides of the ball. They got difference makers at every position.
No, 100%. I think Bama runs the table in the West. Unless they have a slip-up game, which, Bama does have, every couple of years, honestly. It's not like it's every year now. Every couple of years they have a slip-up game, unless they run into, the LSU buzzsaw of 2019 or, Georgia last year, stuff like that. The random Texas A&M game, stuff like that, or Auburn. Other than that, it's like Alabama is the class of the West still. But, Arkansas might give them a run. Arkansas might do something this year, But I do still feel like, I do still feel like it's Alabama's West to lose. And then in the East, honestly, I think we're going to end up seeing both of these teams, Alabama and Georgia, either 12-0 apiece or 12-0, 11-1. I do think, I'm glad that you brought up Tennessee and Hendon earlier. I think Tennessee beats Georgia this year.
Woo. Oh, man.
I'll say it right now. You can clip it. You can do what you want with it. I think Tennessee beats Georgia this year. I think Tennessee is going to make some noise. I think it's going to be interesting, but I do think at the end of the season, it's going to be Bama and Georgia, and I really do hope that it's like Bama's 12-0 or 11-1, probably 12-0, and Georgia's like 11-1. So that way, when they lose in the conference championship game, because they will, that knocks them out of playoff contention, and we don't have to go into another year of two SEC schools in the playoff.
Yeah.
Change your avatar. Look, guys, I love KOD. I love GCG also. More people know me in my profile from my cat than they would if I put my Knight on. So, I love you guys both equally. Don't ever think anything of it like that. So that's
awesome.
just how I'm rocking. Everybody knows the cat.
Yeah.
So we just keep the cat going, So Big Ten. We've got Ohio State across the board. I'm gonna let you take the wheels on this one. I'm gonna sit back and listen to you.
All right, so when you look at it, I think offensively, Ohio State could end the season as the best offense in the history of college football. It makes me sick to my stomach.
What?
It makes me want to throw up. But the skill position talent up and down that offense at the wide receiver position with Jackson Smith-Njigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., at the running back position, Travion Henderson, who ran for 1,700 yards as a true freshman. You get Paris Johnson back, you get DeJuan James on the other end. The offensive line is going to be elite, and you have Stroud at the forefront. So it's going to be miserable. They're going to ring up 50-plus a game, and I don't think anybody in the Big Ten can stop them. In the national scale, I do, but they're going to be a buzzsaw, and I think they're going to run into Wisconsin in the title game. They do play Wisconsin in the crossover in the regular season, so we'll get a sneak peek of that. Braylon Allen's fantastic. That offensive line is going to retool and be all right. Defensively, they finished the on a lot of statistical categories last year. Wisconsin was number 1 in the country. So Jim Leonard just reloads. I think they'll be a tough team. I think Wisconsin's 10-win, 11-win team, and it'll be a entertaining first half in the Big Ten title game.
I can't believe you think Ohio State is going to have a record-breaking offense. It's
going to be unbelievable.
I mean, honestly, Pat said it best. I don't see anybody topping the 19 LSU offense. If they do it statistically, Ohio State, it's a damn good possibility. But I don't think they'll go down as the best offense because that 19 LSU offense in the SEC, that's just that's a generational offense that I don't think that we see again. But no, I think you're 100%. And what's funny is we've got the same Big Ten title game, Ohio State, Wisconsin. Honestly, I feel like we're both right there. So, I don't really have much to add to it. I do think maybe I did see, I want to say it's October 28th or 29th. Ohio State goes to Penn State. That's going to be a whiteout. That's going to be late at night. Could that be the game that Ohio State slips up and has some hell in Happy Valley? So,
hey, Franklin's done before. The whiteout has been, it's been a very impactful. Like you see all the clips of highlights every year of false starts before the game even can start. It's an elite atmosphere. It's a fun place to be. That's a big day in the Big Ten because they're playing Penn State, Michigan State are matching up. So that'll be a big kind of, measuring stick for the season there.
No, 100%. All right. So Big 12, Baylor and Oklahoma. Spend my dollar. Oklahoma. I can't believe that, honestly. I don't know if Oklahoma finishes in the top 3 of the Big 12 this season. We talked about it in the preseason picks earlier, and somebody in the chat earlier said that Oklahoma might not be ranked at the end of the season. But I do think the class of the Big 12 this year is the Baylor Bears, and that's absolutely insane to say after a couple years ago and just all the things that have happened with that program. It is absolutely asinine to say that the Baylor Bears are going to be a good football team. I honestly have Baylor and my Longhorns in the Big 12 championship game. I do.
Hey,
I do. Hey. I've got Baylor and Texas playing for the Big 12 title. I do think Baylor ends up winning. I do think Oklahoma State's going to have a damn good team this year. They have always got a great offense. My man Mike Gundy's up there coaching with the mullet. But the true mullet of the Big 12 belongs to Quinn Ewers at Texas. He will take over as the true mullet of the Big 12. I love you, Pat. I do. But yeah, no,
That's awesome.
I think this is Baylor's year, and I actually think Baylor makes the playoffs.
Wow, man, we are high on Baylor on this program.
I'm high on Baylor because I think this is the year that finally we don't get two big, SEC teams in the playoff. Because honestly, last year we should have had. It wasn't Baylor. Who was it? Who was it that was supposed to be in the playoff, but they lost in the Big 12 championship game? I can't even think who it was now. Was it OK State? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I think it should have been, if OK State hadn't choked, OK State would have been there. Oklahoma State is 100% better than Oklahoma. I agree.
Man, what's funny out there in OK State, that's our old friend Derek Mason's their DC now, old Vandy head coach. They brought him in. That's a tough spot to be in, but he made their defense elite last year. They won on the defensive side.
Yeah, 100%.
Spencer Sanders is awesome. I think OK State will be playing Baylor in the championship game again, and I think Baylor gets them again. Dave Aranda has them rolling. Really strong offensive line, strong defensive line, quarterbacks back. I think Baylor's in position to be in a really good season.
No, I agree 100%. ACC.
We go, man.
Yeah, we've got some options all over the place. We've got options. We've got a smorgasbord here. Well, you know what? I want to go straight up with this first comment. Last time the Deacs won the ACC, there was 2006. Okay. Back in the ACC final, let's go. You know what? I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to have to disagree with you, my friend. I love the passion for the Demon Deacons. I love it. But Miami and Clemson, I think that's going to be your ACC championship game. And, I think that it lives up to I think it's going to be a very interesting time. I think the U is back.
Ooh.
I think the U's back. Like, not like back. Like, I'm just saying, I think the U, I think this is their year to really start, taking the next step.
I think Cristobal, as an FIU alum, he got to start there. He did fantastic. Local Miami guy, went out west, built a program. Now he's back home. I'm definitely high on them long term. I don't know about this season. I think Van Dyke is a good quarterback. He's getting like Heisman hype and stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see there. I do think that's a matchup, which is exciting for us here. We'll be on either side of that to see how that one ends up shaking out. I think looking at Clemson, their defensive line is it's a nightmare. It is Freddy Krueger. He is coming to your dreams. All four of those guys are NFL starters. It is going to be insane. The rest of the team, that's where it's like a question to me of how far Clemson can go. Right. But that defensive line is going to single-handedly win them games. So I think that's going to be a super fun matchup because I think Miami's going to be good, pretty good offensively this year, and it'll be kind of two ends of the spectrum matching up there.
I'd love to see why Spend My Dollar thinks that NC State's going to win the ACC. I'm going to have to get some insight on that next time we talk, maybe next week.
Yeah, he loves Devin Leary, man. On his video, he's just talking him up as a Heisman guy. He's a believer. NC State they have something crazy. It's like 17, 18, 19 starters back. Defense last year was a top 15 unit. Get most of the guys back. So defensively, they're going to be great. Devin Leary's back. I could buy that. I think NC State's going to be a really good team this year. They've never won 10 games, which is crazy. So we'll see if they can get it done.
No, 100%. And I think Miami's got the easier side with the Coastal because UNC, Duke, Georgia Tech. Like, what are they really doing? NC State's got to deal with Clemson, and who knows what Florida State's going to do. I think that this year. Or this first week, against LSU, it'll be a telling game to just see where Florida State's head's at and everything like that. But, I think, I don't know. We'll see. ACC is very interesting. I think the ACC is wide open, honestly. It's one of the more wide open conferences, in college football across the board.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be definitely something to monitor and Spend My Dollars. Our man boots on the ground there. He'll be able to give us plenty of intel.
No, for sure. So let's switch to the Pac-12. Oregon. Oregon.
I'm telling you, I heard all that hate at the start. I had to sit back and wait to kind of talk through why I believe in them.
No. Wait, pause. Time out. I definitely wasn't hating on Oregon. I don't know if Bo Nix is the answer for Oregon. That's all. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bo Nix is a question mark. Now, I'm willing to believe in what I believe is a terrible college football conference in the Pac-12. That it's a possibility that all Utah, Oregon, hell, even USC could win the Pac-12. I don't know. Like, it's so wide open of like what to expect out there. There's a whole bunch of roadkill that you drive over. There's a few speed bumps, but really only a couple teams that we know much about. When you look at Oregon, fantastic on the offensive line, fantastic on the defensive line, stars at all, potential All-Americans at all three levels. Sewell is going to be a top 5 pick. You look at Bo Nix is really, if he can be just an average quarterback, they have a fantastic stable of running backs. I think that's the difference maker. I think defensively they'll be really good. And against Utah, I mean, talk about a game. That's like a Big Ten game. 2 great defenses kind of matching up, playing some smash mouth football.
Yeah, when you look at Utah and you look at, and you look at what they got going on, week 1 is a gigantic week for Utah. Going to the swamp, and we'll talk about that here shortly. I think that's really going to be a very telling game for the program, and just to see what type of season's ahead. But if you look at it after that, they play Southern Utah, San Diego State, like all their big games, like they get USC at home. And
San Diego State beat them last year, if you can believe that.
I don't think that happens this year.
Yeah, but that's what's so crazy about Utah.
and it goes back to the Windhorse meme. Why would they do that? But honestly, Utah's got USC at home. They do have to go. They do have to go to Oregon in November. So I do think, honestly, that's who I have in my conference championship game is Utah and Oregon. So, that's that's where I was at there. Honestly, that's where my head was at because I think Oregon's the class of the North, honestly. So, that's just kind of where my head's at there.
That's great for us. Again, we got 2 things that will be going down the wire on.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, I see the Central Florida love. It was honestly, to me, it was a toss-up between Houston and UCF, to be fair.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Cougs have a little bit more offensive firepower, in my opinion. So that's honestly why I went with the Cougs.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a tough conference. So, we keep up with everything around here, but when you chart out the Power 5, we look at the Power 6 here. Can't bash them too much. They made the playoff last year. And so you look at UCF, they got a lot of talent coming back. I think when I look at conferences that might be, and again, not to insult the AAC, they're picking up some major players the next season, but coaching, I think, stands out at lower than Power 5 a lot more. And Gus Malzahn, I'm a believer in from the standpoint of what he has won. Now, he's certainly had plenty of opportunities and screwed up a lot of things, but I think he can get the job done every other year. And hey, maybe this is his year.
All right. So real quick, rapid fire. Who's your 4 playoff teams?
Man, it's pretty chalky here. I'll have one that was even funnier again. So we got Alabama. Alabama's going to play Georgia in the SEC championship game. I think they both are 12-0. Alabama wins. Georgia still finds their way in. Ohio State is going to nuke everybody on the way there. We'll see what happens in the playoff. And then my last one, just because I wanted to be a little different here. I feel like that 4 slot's really, to me, what's up for grabs when the clear-cut top talent and then drop from there. So I have Oregon. I'm a believer. How hilarious would it be? Bo Nix starting a playoff game. Alabama or Auburn fans would go nuts. So
and he would more than likely have to play Alabama. So I think that would really be the icing on the cake for the journey of Bo Nix. Honestly,
who do you got? The good doctor. Who do you have?
What trash is this? God, I love you guys already. All right, so I got Alabama. I got Ohio State 1 and 2. You can flip-flop them either way around.
Mm-hmm.
The Utah Utes will be in the college football playoff. They will be in the college football playoff. Shout out to my man Jamal Anderson. The Utes are going to the college playoff. And honestly, I think Baylor goes too.
Oh, man. All right.
I think that this is the year that we don't have I really do think this is the year that we don't have 2 SEC teams in the playoffs. I think that this year we get Alabama, Ohio State, Baylor, and Utah. I think this is it. And more than likely, it'll probably end up being Alabama, Ohio State in the national championship. And honestly, in my opinion, that's a toss-up.
Yeah.
You know? Alabama's defense always has that edge. But honestly, you know, I mean, Alabama had a great defense in 19, and look what Burrow and them did. So,
hey, you're not wrong.
Oh no.
Hey, you know, I think that we should work on getting a Pac-12 sponsorship, because both of us had a Pac-12 team making the playoff, which is we've done more for Pac-12 media promotion and getting their name out there than the Pac-12 themselves have done in the past.
100%.
Years, so
your facts. 1 loss Baylor goes in over 1 loss Oregon. I do think that this might be a year where we see, you know, 1 12-0 team and then a bunch of 1-loss teams. I think that there's a clear cut, you know, like there's a bunch of good 11-1 teams. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. We still got a ways to go, you know, clip it, do what you want to do. But all right, we're going to toss up a video for our next co-host that couldn't make it here tonight. I mean, it's only us tonight, you know. Our co-host, I don't know what happened, you know. I know Spend My Dollar had to get brownie points tonight. But let's see where Cerveza is at going into this evening.
I like it.
KOD Universe, what is up? It is Wednesday night. That means one thing. KOD University. It is I, Cerveza, a.k.a. The Dude, a.k.a. Sir Scriffy Scrub, a.k.a. a lot of people just call me Neil. And honestly, you can call me whatever you'd like. It's Wednesday night. I'm not coming to you live from Houston, Texas. I got a fantasy draft like everybody else and their mother. I don't know how anybody has time to do anything before football starts or while football starts. I don't even know what to do with this week 0. But hey, it's here. College football's here. I'm stoked. I want to tell y'all some things about me since you're going to be seeing this mug a lot of this season. Number 1, grew up in Austin, Texas. That means 10-win season after 10-win season after 10-win season after 10-win season. That meant Major Applewhite versus Chris Sims. That means James Brown on the rollout on 4th and 1 to beat Nebraska. That means Ricky Williams making the building shake every time he went onto and came off of the field for year after year after year. After about a whole bunch of 10-win seasons, I headed off to the desert, Tempe, Arizona State University, where I had to pay a lot of money for not a lot of wins. It's like the opposite of the NIL. You got to pay to play, and it's not as much fun as you'd hope it would be. But we've had some great years out in the desert. We have T. Suggs, Terrell Suggs, baby. DJ Foster was the man. We had Brock Osweiler. Did you know that Brock Osweiler was 6'7" and had a basketball scholarship from Gonzaga? If you weren't watching KOD University, how would you ever know that? Now, what I'm most excited to bring to y'all this season, every week, is Cerveza's super sexy, super serious rankings. Sometimes it might be 3 teams. Sometimes it could be 25 teams. Sometimes it could be 50 teams. I guarantee you it will never be 50 teams. But my number 1 pet peeve with college football is these preseason rankings. We put out these rankings, OU's number 4, they struggle against Tulsa, and we keep them at number 4. No. Everybody is unranked, you haven't done shit, and I'm not impressed. After 0 weeks of the season so far, you know what? I got Vanderbilt and I got Northwestern, and they're at the top, and nobody else is even close, especially not Florida State. So be here every week as Cerveza brings you a super sexy, super serious rankings. Really stoked on that. What else can you expect from Cerveza this year other than him referring to himself as Cerveza whenever he feels like it? How about week 2, Stillwater, Arizona State, Oklahoma State. I'm going to head out there, boots on the ground, camera in people's face. How do you get there? Is there one road in? Is there one road out? What happens about Eskimo toast? Should you really go? If you go on Saturday, are you going to get chili fries? Probably not. Is it even worth going? Can you just order the shirt online and that's probably the better move? It might be. I don't know. Are there Ubers in Oklahoma? We're going to find out all this and bring you that information. How about week 3? Aggie Land, Miami, A&M. I was going to say the joke I said earlier about one road in and one road out. I just said it one segment a little too early, but I'm going to bring that question to the forefront as well. Number 1 tip I can already tell you about Aggie Land. If you got to pee and you're behind a core member, figure out a better way. It's going to take them 20 minutes. They got to unbutton all the stuff. They have to pee. They got to figure out where all the stuff is because they're Aggies. They're not the smartest people in the world. Then they got to put all their stuff back on. It takes about 20 minutes. You're better off just peeing in your pants. Trust me, I've been there and I understand. Who knows? I'm in Houston. Literally a 10-minute bike ride for the University of Houston. Is there a big game? Do y'all want to see what their 1,000 fans look like in the stands? I can bring that to you. Mid-October, Europe. No, there's not a college football game, but Tottenham is playing. I can ask them what they think about college football. Do they even know who the Alabama Crimson Tide are? We're going to find out the answer to all these questions, and I'm super stoked. How about drinking? Who likes to drink? Who's not going to a tailgate? Who's sitting at home watching an Ole Miss game and it's real cold? And what do you need? You need a hottie toddy. I'm going to teach you how to make that. What about a Hummer? Has anybody ever had a Hummer? I know a bunch of people in Michigan have had Hummers. I've never even had a Hummer. We're going to make it right here. You're going to see me on camera get my first Hummer. It's going to be unbelievable. I'm going to help you make drinks. I'm going to help you enjoy your college football season. It's going to be a great time. Now, least importantly, I'm going to bring the alpha sometimes. Most of the times, I'm going to bring the beta. And there's one rule about gambling with Cerveza, and it's this. If I tell you to bet Alabama first half, you bet Alabama the first half. If I tell you to bet Alabama the second half, you do not listen to Cerveza. You do not bet Alabama the second half. If there are 40 points and the line is +3 or -6, it does not matter. Do not listen to me and do not bet Alabama in the second half. There's one thing you can take from me. The most important thing you can take from me is do not bet Alabama in the second half. I've lost all the money I've ever won on Alabama in the first half. Now, to get us kick-started, I only have like 6 or 7 plays. This is some serious beta that I took from the internet. Some over-unders for the season. Number 1, Georgia Tech, under 3.5. Vandy, which you can't play anymore because they've got 1 win, over 2.5. Doing the math here, I've already got 1. I just need 2 more. Vandy wins a game outside of September, going to be doing all right. UCLA, under 8.5. Chip Kelly doesn't have the smoke. Utah State, over 7. South Florida, USF, under 4.5 games won. Pitt, under 8.5 games won. And Bowling Green, over 4 games won. I'd love to say I have a high level of confidence on these picks, but I really don't. But if you want to screw around, if you want to sweat it with Cerveza, make the place. It's just money. What are you going to do? You can't take it with you when you go. Everything's going to be all right. I'm really looking forward to hanging with you guys and gals on Wednesday night, KOD University. Check your local times, your local listings for channel and all that good stuff. And hey, give them hell.
I like that guy. If
Cerveza,
I say I
man.
want taco salad, don't listen to me. Make tuna salad instead. Is that how this year is going to go? Who the hell knows, you know?
That's awesome, man.
But let's get right into the hot games of the week. We're going to give you all a little smorgasbord of info real quick on the upcoming games of the season. I was hoping for some beats here. There's no beats. It's all right. Oh, there they are. We're going to start it off with the backyard brawl tomorrow night. Virginia at Pitt. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't know. There are people a lot smarter than me in the state of West Virginia. I've been there once. I won't go back. Shout out to the people that love West Virginia and live there, but I've been once. I'm good there. In my opinion, West Virginia hasn't been relevant since Pat White and them. So, shout out to them. But yeah, West Virginia at Pitt. What you thinking there?
Man, well, they say West Virginia is almost heaven. Oh man! All right, so I do have the Mountaineers covering. I think Pitt wins. I think Mountaineers keep it close enough. You got JT Daniels coming in. He's got the experience. He's a journeyman. He's a gun for hire. I think he'll be all right. They have their entire offensive line back. All 5 starters are back. Caden Prather, really young, exciting wide receiver. I think he'll help them stay close. Defense is the question mark. I really don't know what to think of Pitt. West Virginia has at least a substantial amount of starters back, specifically their O-line. That was pretty good last year. Pitt, I just don't know. I mean, they lost a bunch of – their Blitnikoff is gone. Their first-round pick's gone. I don't know. I think it'll be a fun game, though, and they absolutely hate each other. So, that's just exciting, too.
JT Daniels literally is a journeyman, 100%. He's like – and I think that it's just crazy that, JT Daniels has been all over the place and now he's making his home in West Virginia. But no, I 100% think Pitt covers. The over's looking kind of spicy too, 51 points. In my opinion, between these two teams, I do think they will score. So Pitt and the over honestly sounds like the play here, in my opinion.
All right. I like the over too.
Yeah, I do think that's what we got there. Let's go with what Spend Our Dollar got to say on this.
That's for a better opener than Pitt, West Virginia. Backyard brawl. I love it. I'm looking forward to this matchup. I get why everybody's pretty high on Pitt. All the Action Network signals point towards Pitt and the point spread. But I like Neil Brown. I think he's a really good head coach. He's in year 4, a chance now to kind of put his system in place. He brings in JT Daniels, paired with his old OC and Graham Harrell with a strong offensive line. I think this West Virginia team will be improved. And while Pitt is good and, there's a reason why they're getting backed by a lot of people, I'm going West Virginia this one plus the points.
Man, Graham Harrell. That's
a name I haven't heard him forever. That is a name I haven't heard him forever. And I'm just going to leave it at that, honestly. This game to start off the Saturday afternoon action. What's funny is I actually have a kid's birthday party to go to. And, I was like, hey, I have to leave at 2:00, or 3:00 Eastern. I can't stay any later. Oregon traveling to the state of Georgia to play in the Georgia Dome or whatever they call that stadium in Atlanta now. Oregon's getting 17.5 points. In my opinion, this is wildly disrespectful. But honestly, Pac-12 teams playing SEC teams in the first week of the season. Season. Yeah, no, it hasn't gone well. And, that's why this line is what it is. Yeah. But in my opinion, the Bo Nix magic. Bo Nix loves to have big games against these SEC powers. He showed it at Auburn. It happens, Mm-hmm. It just depends on which Bo Nix we see. Do we see the Auburn Bo Nix or do we see a new and improved Oregon Bo Nix? So, and honestly, who's Georgia's quarterback? The
mailman.
Yeah.
The mailman, he's back.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly, I can't even tell you the guy's name right now. That's how little I care about what Georgia's going to do this year. I do think, though, honestly, in my opinion, I think 17.5 is too much. And I do think these teams are both going to score a bunch of points. Actually, I'm taking Oregon. I'm not taking them outright. God, no. I'm not taking them outright.
I was like, man,
but
the 560 getting enticing.
You can give me those points, and honestly, the over's looking kind of good too, but I'm not touching it. I'm staying far away from it. So,
yeah. Well, you've got to hear me wax poetic several times already tonight about Oregon, so you know where I stand on them. I think they keep it close enough. I think Georgia will win week by week, but they're replacing a lot. They're replacing a lot. It's a new setup, new defensive coordinator. Of course, it's Kirby's D, but Dan Lanning, I think he can build a strong team from the front 7 in. So I'm not touching the over under either. I would lean under just because it's going to be 2 defenses and 2 offenses trying to figure it out. But hey man, I love Oregon. All right, I'm a believer. Quack is back.
No, 100%. I think the Duck is going to get tired of doing push-ups this year. I really do believe that. I hope that his chest is ready and his pecs are ready to get some work because I do think we're going to score some points this year. But yeah, no. So let's see what Spend My Dollar thinks.
You know, maybe the marquee game in week 1, Oregon, Georgia, at least brand wise, right? 2 power brands right now. Listen,
Yeah.
I'm going back to what I said earlier in the show. I want to see how Georgia responds with a target on his back. You got a lot of familiarity in this game with Dan Lanning, with Bo Nix. He's not going to be afraid or nervous at all to face this Georgia team. I think Georgia's going to be good, right? I mean, everybody does. But I think Oregon's going to make this a ball game early on. Keep it close in a lower scoring game. And I think they cover the points plus 17.5.
Okay.
Man. Oof, I mean, hopefully we don't run this down the line on the same side on all these. We're gonna be in some trouble.
No doubt. You know, I think that's kind of what we're looking at right now. In my opinion, I think this is the game of the weekend. I think this is the game of the weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah.
You know, I think Utah go into the swamp. 3 p.m. You know, it's going to be hot. It's going to be muggy. You know.
Yeah.
I'm taking Utah. Utah. I am. I think under's the play here, honestly. I don't know if this is going to be some high-scoring, crazy game. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a defensive battle because Utah does have a damn good defense. You know, of course, Florida's always, you know, SEC defenses, you know, they give people hell, but, you know, give me Utah. Sorry, Rob, I'm not picking Florida. I'm not touching Florida at all on this. Give me Utah. Give me the under. That's where I'm at. Utah's actually one of my parlay picks for the weekend, actually. So.
Nice. Well, unfortunately, I also am a believer in Utah. You know, I think Cam Rising is the difference maker when we look at 2 teams kind of, you know, hitting a little mini reset button. Utah's getting a lot of their offense back, but only 5 starters back on defense. Now, Kyle Whittingham will never have anything but a top 25 defense. So I think they'll get it together. I think when you look between 2 teams that, on a talent perspective, Florida's probably ahead from overall talent. Utah's a little ahead on cohesiveness and what they're putting together. I think Cam Rising's the difference maker, and I think Utah comes out of the swamp with a win.
No, 100%.
Year 1 under Billy Napier, I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings out. I mean, it's got to get better, right? Florida, a team that just needs to pull it all together, get back on the right track. I think this is going to be a pretty good Florida team, but I can't get out of my head the way I saw Utah look at the end of last season. They returned so much. They went toe-to-toe with Ohio State. I think it's a really good team. They should win the Pac-12. I think they will, but I like them to go down. It's a tough place to play. I mean, I give the nod to Florida because you go to the Swamp for the first time. You know, used to that atmosphere. It's going to be hot. There's going to be a lot of fans, a little bit of Tom Petty song. So I think Florida, if they pull the upset, wouldn't surprise me. But I got to go with Utah and trust my eyes on this one.
See, smart man here.
Oof.
We're all
There we go.
riding Utah. We're all riding Utah, which 100% means Utah's losing.
Well, I mean,
no, wait, not that one. This one. This is the button I was looking for. My man backstage pushing buttons. Notre Dame, Ohio State. You know, Notre Dame's coach this week. Lord have mercy on him. He opened his mouth. You know, 17.5 points. That's going to give us something.
Should have had him on the show with us here. You know, like, heck, he's making picks too.
Yeah, no, 100%. Ohio State is going to make an example out of Notre Dame. They're beating them by at least 3 touchdowns. At least 3 touchdowns.
I agree.
I don't think it's even close. Honestly, in my opinion, I think they might beat them by 30. I'm not lying. And this is just coming straight from the heart. I don't know about the over-under, but honestly, I mean, 59 seems like a lot. Notre Dame's going to score their points, though. Notre Dame's going to score some points.
You know how I feel about the Ohio State offense. So until Vegas starts overcorrecting, I'm taking the over in their games. I think single-handedly they're going to ring up 40, maybe 50. Notre Dame, they have talent. You know, they have an unbelievable tight end. They have a good chunk of they might have the best offensive line in the country. Who are they going to throw the ball to? Who is throwing the ball? My concern there is how they can score, what the defense looks like. Should be probably a top 25, top 30 unit. But my concern is how are they going to try and score with Ohio State?
Yeah, no, that tight end is good. I'll give him that, but your tight end's not gonna. He's not going to be able to put up enough points by himself, in my opinion, you know? So that's where I'm at there. Ohio State very well might score 59. Honestly, you just never know. Honestly, you don't know, you know, with as much as you're hyping up the Ohio State offense, I mean, you know, the smooth play might be betting the over just Ohio State points by themselves. So that's where I'm at there.
Well, I mean, everybody's talking Ohio State, right? This offense is going to be one of the best maybe ever. So many weapons. Notre Dame, under Freeman,
Many people
first
are saying.
start. I mean, I know they're using this underdog card. They seen the line. They know it's 17.5. They're being disrespected. But I just don't know how they can score with Ohio State. And if Ohio State shows any semblance of defense, they should probably hit in the 40s. I don't think Notre Dame can score in the high 20s and keep up. I need to see Notre Dame prove me otherwise, but until then, I'm laying the points with Ohio State.
He's smart.
Hey, man, like he said, many great experts are saying this could be one of the best offenses ever. You know, he was right.
Yeah, no, and I mean, obviously we're experts because, you know, we're saying the same thing. I love the fact that we are getting Sunday night football, week 1 of college football season. I love it. I love the Labor Day holiday because honestly, you get football from Thursday to Monday.
Oh man,
we're
almost there. Yeah,
Florida State coming to Louisiana, gonna be in the Superdome, playing LSU. I hate LSU with the passion. I want everybody to know this up front. I hate LSU with the passion, living here forever. Like I hate LSU, you know. I respect their 2019 team, but other than that, LSU can take a hike. With that being said, though, Brian Kelly's first year at LSU, I think it's going to be very interesting. With that being said, I do think LSU covers, and I actually had LSU -3. So that is another one of my picks of the week, LSU -3. I do think that LSU does win this game by a touchdown, maybe more. I just don't know what Florida State's got, man. I really don't. I just, you know, it's a hard sell for me on Florida State. You know, in my opinion, it's just like we were talking about Nebraska earlier with the prominence. I think Florida State's, you know, their glory days are behind them, and you know, this is just the new Florida State, in my opinion.
Which is crazy because, like, when you look at Nebraska, you know, that's like a historically good team that, in my opinion, really has no reason it should have ever been good. Like,
right.
let's say they get the top player from every state that they touch. Is that are there even going to be multiple top, like, 200 people? When you look at Florida State, all these kids grow up, all these 5-stars, 25 stars grow up of the Florida State of, I mean, because Florida State won a national title less than 10 years ago.
No, 100%.
But like, what happened, man? The wheels came off. You know, Jimbo really set him in a bad spiral here. Norvell, who knows? And it's like, I was looking up and down the roster of Florida State, and I was like trying to put together who I thought would be good. So that's like my concern. Just because of that now, like Brian Kelly, I think he's a horrible person. I think that he's a big time a-hole. I think he's a great coach. So like he's gonna put it together down there. I think he'll get run out of town in like 3 or 4 years, probably after winning a championship. But I'll take LSU in this one. I think Boot is an unbelievable talent at wide receiver. I think Cerveza's old boy, Jaden Daniels, transferring in from Arizona State, is going to be throwing him the ball. The rest is, I don't know. This is, if we're looking confidence picks, I would say this is my least confident game of the season, or game of the slate that we're picking here. Because I don't know what to expect of either. I'm
not touching the over under on this one. I mean, honestly, I hate even betting LSU in this, but I just feel like I feel like 3 was a good number, and like I said, I don't know what Florida State's going to be. But honestly, Scooby hit the nail on the head when he said, "Is there a more odd coach school pairing in college football than Brian Kelly and LSU?" Like that. Honestly, when that happened, that was the wildest thing. Like, honestly, to me, you know, all these other names like that were popping up about coming to LSU, like I think Jimbo, you know, and stuff like that. It's like, when I heard Brian Kelly, I was just like, what in the hell was going through his head? You should have just stayed at Notre Dame and just kept collecting your checks and your money. But, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. We'll see. Let's see what Spin My Dollar thinks on this one.
This line tells you all you really know about this game, right? I mean, Florida State hasn't been good in a little while. I know they had a great win over the Dukes, but listen, Duquesne, I'm not reading anything into that victory. They racked up a bunch of yardage, but still, I need to see them play a legit opponent. And LSU's going to be that. LSU's fallen from grace, brought in Brian Kelly. Little cringe on the recruiting videos, let's be honest, but he's got some talent there. He hadn't announced his quarterback, so I don't know if that's a good sign or bad sign. He's probably going to use multiple guys, so hopefully one of those guys can find a rhythm. I still think LSU has more talent top to bottom than Florida State, and maybe we're getting a little bit of love for Florida State based on that week 1 dominant performance, but I've got to roll with LSU and the SEC on this one.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I think that's the best way to put it. We're rolling with the SEC.
Yep.
I think that's it. The Monday night special, Clemson, Georgia Tech. Boy, this game's gonna be a barn burner.
Man, that's how they know that when they're putting the schedule together. Like, all right, we got to put something on Monday night. They're so starved for football. Let's give them Clemson, Georgia Tech. It's like, what a terrible game. I guess I would like it to be entertaining, but like, in my opinion, I don't know how Georgia Tech crosses the 50. The defensive front on Clemson is going to eat them alive.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think Clemson beats the absolute hell out of Georgia Tech. Maybe the over hits mainly from Clemson, maybe like a 42, 45 to maybe a touchdown, something like that. I think it's going to be pretty ugly. I don't really have much to say really on that.
Yep. I'm with you. I think that's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's all I got there. I don't even know. Does Georgia Tech still run the triple option? Like, honestly, that's how long it's been since I've watched Georgia Tech play football.
Man, they may as well, because they don't really have anything else resembling an offense out there. And then the only talented player they had, Jamir Gibbs, is now in Alabama.
And that's all you got to say about that one. Let's go back to Spin My Dollar one.
Well, Monday Night Football, our last college football game on Monday night till the national championship. Hopefully it's Alabama. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be picking this game probably otherwise, but I got to lean Clemson a little bit. They just got more talent top to bottom. I don't like the hook very much. I expect Clemson to probably jump off to a fast start in this game. I just don't know what DJ can bring to the table. I'm still not sold. I need to see him do a little bit more. Will he do that this game and prove me right? I don't know. I just think Georgia Tech's lost a lot. They're just not in a good spot right now. It could be Collins' last year there. I'm going to go Clemson, lay the points. Don't love it, but we got to pick it.
He ain't wrong there. But that was that. And we've got a little board that's going to show all of our weekly picks this week. So, if we're wrong, we're starting and ending on a Monday night this year. Come on now, Dabo, get out of here. This is what the guys got. This is what we all got together here. I mean, honestly, this week, it's pretty chalk. I really do think the big swing here is the Utah-Florida game. I just think that's where it's at. But I do want to say I did throw two more bets that I'm going to give you all a little insight on. I got a 14 parlay rocking. I got LSU and Utah. Arkansas 5.5 against Cincinnati. Arkansas 5.5 against Cincinnati. I think Arkansas handles business. I don't think Cincinnati is going to be able to score enough to keep up with them there. And then I've got the mighty Cougs -4 points, the Houston Cougs. So that's going to be my 4 of the week. You can trail me. You can ride with me. Like Russell Wilson said, Bronco Nation, let's ride.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this first week, man. I think a lot of these games are going to be a lot of fun to follow along with. Still putting together my board on what I'm going to fire off here. I put it out on Twitter last week, had a perfect 6-0 week. So we know we're going to go 0-6 this week. Excited for it, man. Excited to get into it. And man, college football back tomorrow night. A great slate of opening games. Penn State, Purdue. West Virginia, Pitt. I mean, that's a lot of fun.
Oh man, I'm definitely, I haven't been in the living room much over the last 6 months. I bought this nice new TV last year, and honestly, I've barely used it in the last, what are we at? End of August? I've barely used it this year, since the end of the NFL season and everything like that. So no, I'm definitely about to spend a lot of time in the living room. I'm just excited that college football is back. I love it. It's my passion, honestly. So I couldn't be more hyped to get this season rolling, and stuff like that. So if y'all got any parlays, or any bets that y'all think are just, can't miss week 1, fire them off in the chat. I'd love to hear them. So you got anything else, Nelly?
Man, let's see what else I had on here. Man, I tell you what, as far as opening up out the gate, I'll be really interested in that Arkansas game that you were talking about. I think I don't really understand how the spread shook out how it did, because in my opinion, Arkansas is a substantially better team.
100%.
And Cincinnati had a generational team. I mean, you got to give it to them. I mean, first group of 5 to break through, but all those guys that did that are in the NFL now, or with Enterprise going pro in something other than sports.
Right.
And so, it's like, now that we got a team reset here, what are they going to do?
No, 100%. I think that's a very interesting game, and that's why I went with Houston for the the AAC and everything like that. But you cooking anything this weekend? You doing any grilling? You got anything going on the grill?
Man, I'm actually heading up back to the native country up there, up in Michigan, going to check out the Michigan-Colorado State game. Should be a slaughter. Going to get some tailgating in, do a little grilling. I'm bad at grilling, but I'm really good at drinking. So I'm excited to handle that part of the aspect.
See, I don't drink anymore. I haven't drank in some years, but meat is my language of love now. I got me a smoker. I can smoke damn near anything. I went and bought about 8 pounds of ribeyes earlier today and got me some wings. So I'm not eating all 8 pounds of ribeyes this weekend. I'm going to put half of them in the freezer. But no, we're definitely going to get some wings on the smoker, definitely get some ribeyes. It's going to be a good weekend of college football. I'm just glad we're back, and
love it.
And I just, I'm extremely hyped to talk college football with you, my guy. So if you ain't got much else, I'm good. So
hey, let's do it, my brother. The good doctor.
By the way, Texas is covering 37.5. I just wanted y'all to know that. Put your entire bankroll on Texas 37.5. Let's ride.
There we go. Okay, gonna roll it hard into the next week. Next week's a great one.
Yeah, no, literally. I'm just gonna throw. I found like $600 on my sportsbooks accounts this week. I might just throw it all on Texas 37.5 and let it ride. So, I appreciate the love, guys. This is only gonna get better from here. This is just week 1 of us having some fun. Look out on Twitter this weekend at Dr. DiCatrio. I'm gonna be firing college football takes, live tweeting everything. So, hey, I'll see y'all next week, same time, same place. Y'all have a good night.
Let's do it.